I have to say, episode 51 of Jujutsu Kaisen is probably easily one of my favorite episodes of the series overall. Like, one being the fact that, yes, incredible fight sequence. Absolutely incredible. Just Maki going down and just mowing the entire area out. Like anything in the way. Burn it all down, as Mai said. Burn everything. Destroy it all. She just absolutely mows everything. But yes, also having it portrayed in what I'm assuming is going to be a Kill Bill reference. It oozed it. I mean, you have this same sequence. It's in a big room like that. You have like it very, Japanese setting and everything like that, traditional Japanese, and then you have a whole bunch of thugs and they're all coming after her. She's dicing them up, and then suddenly out of nowhere, it's black and white. Out of nowhere, it just turns black and white. Yeah, I think it's kind of a reference there. But I think with Kill Bill specifically, unless there was a different version, like everything was black and white. It wasn't, the blood was still red. Now, granted, they had a moment where, like, you had the whole contrasting, snow with the white outfits and the blood and all that kind of stuff. But still, it seemed like that was obviously what it was going for, and it was really cool. I really did enjoy that entire segment. It was super cool, so, hats off to them. MAPPA, with their pop cultural references, just constantly oozing out. I don't typically catch a lot of it, but I do every now and then, but it was a really cool segment. But yeah, I think the reason, putting aside the fight sequences and all that crap, I think the thing at its core, what I love so much about this episode, was Maki's progression, or you can say it's unfortunate progression, but it's her development. Like, she just totally just shined, absolutely shined. She's potentially going to go down as one of my favorite, if not my favorite character of this series. Like, I just think this was a fantastic way of developing her up. And yes, technically, seemingly, I'm not 100% entirely sure how it works, but Mai essentially turning her, or at least helping her break off and become the next Toji. Like, she literally just became the next Toji, took that cursed energy from her and made her become that individual. And everybody's literally calling her Toji, saying that she's just as strong as Toji. She's up there with him. She's got that power and everything like that. So it's kind of lining up with that. But anyways, let's get into the episode proper. Opening up the episode with initially Naoya and Maki talking very briefly. Him pretty much talking down to her. Why'd you come back here? What are you doing here? What are we going to do? You want me to bully you again like we used to? Why would you even come here with that ugly face? As usual, talking very down to women, mistreating women, pretty much saying that the only thing that was good about her was her face, and now that she didn't have that, what good is she? Was a pretty little rough moment there, but it seems like now you let her by. That was the interesting thing, because I assumed that she was going to have to fight him initially. That was my predictions in the previous episode. I'm like, yeah, he ain't going to let it happen, but it seems like he let her by. And it seems, based on the little conversation that we have shortly later with Naoya talking to his brother, that seemingly he stepped in. I'm assuming that he stepped in. Junichi says something to the effect that he basically, should wait and let her go. It seems like they have a plan set up, and that is to have essentially Ogi, which seems to be his plan, Ogi step up and take her out, because they are in effect doing something that is against the headquarters. The headquarters has found out that, Gojo is locked up, and anybody that attempts to release him is going to be branded a criminal, and thus Ogi apparently is going to be the one that exacts justice upon Maki and kills him. So I'm guessing Naoya just let her by, because then we cut over to her being in the vault, and apparently they've already cleared everything out, knowing that she's going to come there, cleared out all the cursed tools, and Ogi is there to punish her, take her out. Not a very good dad. What a dirtbag dad. Which, this is very interesting, because we learn over time throughout the episode that, yeah, this father, Ogi, hates his daughters. Absolutely hates them. And that was because he was supposed to be the next head of the family, because his technique is so much more better than his brother's, but apparently because he had two children that are absolutely useless in some way because they were twins, they didn't appoint him. Instead, they appointed his brother. And this has pretty much destroyed him. Even though he has incredible technique, he's incredibly powerful, very, very strong, unlike his brother, all because of the bloodline. It all comes down to the bloodline. And that makes sense. It doesn't make sense. It's a sad reality. I guess I'll say that. It's a sad reality, the idea of that, yes, it's not going to stay with that person. It's going to have to go to the children. And if they can only create useless children, then there's no point in having them be the next head, because then their children are going to be the next head, and then they're going to have really bad bloodlines being the head of the family. It's a really, really screwed up family, I think, overall, as we've kind of learned over time with the, sexism within the family and all that other kind of stuff. So yeah, they fight for a brief moment. She takes out his sword, but then he ends up still getting the blow in there, because she assumed with a cut sword, he ain't gonna be able to hit her. It visually looked like he extended the blade, despite the fact that the blade physically was broken. But he said something to the effect that you'd assume that because my sword was broken, that I wouldn't be able to hit you. That's why you're a failure. In the end, you're still a failure. But it did seem like he used his ability to sort of extend the blade. That's what it looked like visually. He goes on rambling about how much his children are useless and they're failures, and that's why he lost his title. Whine about his stupid freaking title. His father's a fucking dirtbag, dude. Absolute dirtbag. And then just tosses his 2 children inside this place filled with, what was it, grade 2 and lower cursed spirits? Guy's a dirtbag. Guy's a fucking dirtbag. And it sucks because, yeah, the thing that he says in parting, what was it? Heavenly Pact, enhanced physical prowess. These are things that we sorcerers pretty much train every single day to strengthen our body with cursed energy, and you're nothing special. And I assume what's kind of saying there is because we can enhance ourselves, we would never need to physically get stronger, which again makes sense. And that's where we get our little scene with Mai and Maki. Now, I'm not really like super like emotionally connected to these 2 characters. I mean, I get their struggles overall, but I think like emotionally like being torn up by this is not really going to happen. Like, it's still tragic in the end. And I think a lot of it has to do with sort of the fact that they didn't have the choice that they did when they were born together, being twins, what that sort of has, again, what they get into in a minute, built into for their potentials and everything like that. But it's also, yes, the fact that their father pretty much facilitated this, which really, really sucks. Them always being seen as failures and then wanting to discard them. But yeah, Mai's little sacrifice for Maki right here. Now, I think that sort of implied, yeah, for sure she created a sword for her. That's easily assumed there. But I think it also implies that she created a heart for her as well to potentially save her life. Naoya mentioned the fact that, you don't have a heart, and she's like, yeah, she took that from me or whatever. I kind of assumed that there might have been a replacement of a heart, but that could be just not literally. It just could be, emotionally, whatever. But anyways, that aside, creating the sword and everything, that aside, the little conversation they had was a little bit interesting. And again, it does get into sort of how society, or at least the sorcerers and seemingly Jujutsu itself, views twins. And the idea that when they're born together, the assumption there is that, yes, it's going to split their capabilities. And so you have one that's all physical, or at least has nothing, and the other one gets the technique. And that's the one that didn't have the technique, Maki. She wanted to physically build herself so that she could still stand. Now, the problem there is that, yes, the society itself doesn't see it as a good thing because it kind of breaks their potential. And that's why they were always seen as a failure. Well, here it kind of implies the idea that they were always connected. That's the interesting thing. Mai seen, or at least found out that, or discovered, or realized that them being twins is seen in Jujutsu as being the same entity. And thus, everything they do sort of matters. That because I don't want to train myself, even if you train yourself, you'll never get stronger. I'm always going to hold you back. Now, I'm not sure if she intended that to be sort of her belief, like her own guilt, or if that's actually sort of a rule within Jujutsu itself. I'm kind of curious. Again, it kind of seems to imply, based on how Maki massively evolves after this, obviously it made a difference. Obviously, the fact that she sacrificed, or that she died in the end, she gave Maki a ton of potential right here. Yes, part of it is a sword, but Maki herself, her body, has changed. She now can even see Naoya as he's using his ability to moving around. She was never able to see that before. Now suddenly she's able to. She has evolved. She has physically evolved. So it does sort of give me a sense there that they were always one entity. And then once Mai died, all that potential flowed inside of her. All that strength, all that capability, all that potential flowed inside of her. I don't know if they ever really kind of touched on this previously before this episode, so I could be completely off base. But I'd be curious if anybody knows if there was any sort of touch on this and if it's been sort of explained before. But that's sort of what I'm seeing here with them mentioning the fact that Jujutsu itself views them as the same self, one being gone, and thus never having something to sort of hold her back. That unless they were to move together, I guess, if they're both alive, if they're both to move together, they could potentially reach something, but they were never the single being, even though they were always seen as a single being. Maybe I'm probably overcomplicating that as I explain it. I'm trying to explain it as best I can sort of understand, but it's still cool. It's a cool concept. I love this little segment because, yes, it sucks because it's kind of that usual, the sister self-sacrifice herself in order to help her sister, and thus the sister becomes super strong, kind of whole little argument there, but it's still really strong. But the other cool thing in this, again, what makes her essentially become the next Toji, I don't know how. This is the part where I'm like, I'm not sure how this happens, but this is what they do. Mai somehow takes the cursed energy that is remaining within Maki, removes it, And that's what essentially makes her become the next Toji, because Toji didn't have cursed energy. She has like everything within her, and that's what really happens. That when she first wakes up, kills everything in the room, the father immediately turns around and says, I trained to get rid of this fear. He remembered Toji. Like, it had a brief moment where he's seen this vision of Maki and Toji's coming out of her. Like, she literally embodies Toji. And every single person that she runs into is literally saying, it's Toji. It's Toji again. You're not a Toji. You can't be a Toji. She's the next Toji. Toji made the Zenin clan what it is. All this stuff starts kind of coming up. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So she goes off and starts killing everybody with the final words of her sister to destroy it all. Promise me that you'll destroy it all. Cuts her dad's head right in half. I think she picked up her sword, the sword that she came in there with, and just starts to wipe the floor with everybody. The whole fight sequence with the Kukuru unit, apparently a unit that she used to be a part of before she left. I chopped off one dude's arm. The sword goes flying and hits, and the hand still on it literally just plants itself in somebody else's head. She's sliding around on the blood. Dodging the swords and everything like that, sliding up to somebody else, doing like a 1-inch punch and everything into somebody, just absolutely just knocks them all out. Then the Hay unit comes in, they try to take her out, but that fails as well. And then she goes up against Naoya, and again, because now she has this improved self, this, stronger self, she's able to actually see his speed. They touched a little bit more on the projection sorcery and the fact that anything touched by the palm must create movement within 1/24th of a second. I thought they were going to play on that. I think that's probably what Naoya thought. I think that's what they were sort of implying, that Naoya thought of that she was going to try not to let herself be moved, that she was going to literally take the hit and everything like that. But no, she just straight up fucking punched him in the face. She just straight up punched him. She just predicted when he was going to be there and just straight up duked him in the floor. Which is so annoying because I'm like, she literally obliterated everybody up to that point. Literally killed everybody up in that point. In a lot of cases, very gruesome ways. But no, Naoya, she just punches once and leaves behind. I'm like, I completely thought with how fast he's going, her, again, the new Toji, literally punching him that hard, his head would explode. I mean, it showed like most of his skull like literally evaporate, which that would be enough, I think, to obliterate somebody's brain. If you can punch somebody in the side of the head and it creates a concussion that can kill them because their brain literally smacks around in their skull, I think that punch would have literally splatted his brain. But logic, let's put that aside. It's just a show. We're having fun here. I'm surprised it didn't kill him. But yeah, he basically walks off and ends up getting stabbed by her mother. I guess is one final for the mother to get an FU to the family. The mother was interesting, honestly, because yes, she goes and, kills a bunch of other people, eventually finds the mom and slices the mom, but again, doesn't actually kill her because the mom's able to get up and go kill Naoya. The mom was interesting because, yeah, at the very beginning, she's saying, please don't go. Please stop. Why are you doing this? Don't go. Please make me proud that I birthed you. At that moment, I kind of thought there was a chance that she wanted her daughter to literally end it all. But then later on, she runs into her again and she starts getting mad again. And then she gets sliced and then she's like, thank you for being born. My conclusion that I came to in the end was that, yes, she's a mother that's a part of this family and essentially became submissive to the family. The family treats the women horribly and she just became a puppet to the family. She didn't want her daughter to step up because she knew that was futile. Fall in line, daughter, fall in line, daughter. But there was a side of her that wanted her daughter to fix it. A side of her that wanted her daughter to break the system. So even though she keeps saying stop, and she keeps saying you're a stain upon the family, stop stepping out of line, deep down she's like, thank you for destroying it. Thank you for ending it all. I hate all this stuff. Thank you for being born. That's sort of the conclusion I came to. But yeah, wraps up the episode with Maki walking out with Mai and running into Momo. Poor Momo. I really like Momo's character just because of the fact that it's, Ryukajimiya, but poor girl finally shows up in the show for once in like forever, and it's just to see that her Mai is dead. Poor girl. And yeah, it does a little caption saying that Gojo clan and Kamo clan motion for headquarters to remove the Zenin clan from the big three, and HQ has tabled the motion. I was actually been surprised if she just wipes out all the families. I wouldn't even doubt it if Maki just goes out and literally destroys it all. Destroys all of them. Destroy all the big three. That ain't gonna happen. I doubt that gonna happen. But again, Really fantastic episode. Really, really love this episode overall. Again, one of my favorite episodes of the series, which is honestly not saying a whole lot, as people know that I've not been like the biggest fan of the series, at least with the second season. But I think this actually turned out to be an awesome episode. And I love to see Maki's development and becoming what she is, because I think right now she could be a massive asset to the fight against Kenjaku. Toji was nasty in general. Like, Toji was nasty. He nearly killed Gojo. He nearly killed him. I mean, I think technically he did, in a sense. But we'll see. But that's my thoughts on episode 51 of Jujutsu Kaisen. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below. If you like this content and you want to support the channel more, become a member. Until next time, y'all take care.